So we're going to talk about the Stairway to Heaven. Roxy thought for sure it'd be the Led Zeppelin song, but it's, well, has a little bit to do with it. Don't worry. Anyway, we lived up on this house, and remarkably, it came on the market in 2018, and I got some real good pictures of it. That is where we lived. Then we moved to Santa Barbara, and we lived up on this big old hill overlooking Grover Beach. Now it's, I'm sorry, Grover City. Now it's Grover Beach and Pismo Beach. You can see, actually right here, you can see Pismo Beach and Shell Beach in the background. That's Pirates Cove Point, where there used to be smugglers. And around that point is Avila Beach. The hill was a gigantic sand dune, the last one before the topography and soil changed towards the backcountry of Arroyo Grande, towards Wasna and the Santa Lucia mountain range. Remember that name, Santa Lucia. This range is important in this talk. The range is a part of the Southern California Coastal Range. East of this range is the San Joaquin or Central Valley, and east of the valley is the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Now, from our home, this is the backyard, part of the backyard. You can see this is the sand dunes and the ocean of Grover City, and over here towards this area would be Oceano. And here's a better picture of what you could see from actually the deck that was on the second floor. The ocean, and then Pismo Beach, Shell Beach, and then all the way around there. That was to the north. This was to the west. And, let's see, it was one of the farmland and valleys towards the east, and that's all the way to the Santa Lucia Mountains. I'll show you that in a minute. My middle brother, Bruce, and I were Boy Scouts, by the way. Hold on. I remember a couple of our scoutmasters telling me that the Shumash believed that there was a stairway to heaven somewhere in Wasna. I found this idea to be irresistible. That wasn't that far away. If you go straight east from Napomo, which is south of Arroyo Grande, you hit Wasna. And that was pretty cool. That was just a neat concept for me. Anyway, these are the Santa Lucia Mountains. That's the deck in the backyard. Wonderful view. So, let's see. Going to the field. Oh, looky there. That's my father. And there's the Santa Lucia Mountains. I helped him build this patio out here. There's my little brother. I have one other brother. And there, right there, is the Santa Lucia Mountains. There's a better picture. Some days, I would spend some time out on our second story deck, gazing out towards the Santa Lucia Mountains, towards Wasna, wondering about that stairway, the mountains. Let's see what, okay, we're at 6. The mountains were always a mysterious backdrop to the farm I could see across 101. Further on, there were rolling hills. They're beautiful hills too. And then the Santa Lucia Mountains. Oops. Can't go backwards, so we're going to stay there a minute. The Santa Lucia Mountains change colors according to the light and the seasons. Sometimes there were a lot of greens and browns, but usually there were shades of blues and purple. Out there was a stairway to heaven. One day I was out on the deck gazing towards the mountains, and I blinked. A hawk appeared close to me, a little above eye level, riding the air currents coming off the dunes to the west. I was transfixed as the hawk remained almost still. It was the oddest thing. It didn't hardly move, and yet it was there suspended in the air as it rode the breezes. I could tell that it acknowledged me and wanted to remain there for a while. And I can't tell you how long we watched each other. I'd forgotten the mountains and the stairway, though, and was wholly absorbed in being one with the hawk. At some point, I blinked again, and the hawk was gone. I pondered this episode then, as I did for many years afterwards. Similar encounters between animals and I have happened in the intermittent years as well. In that moment, I became less interested in finding the stairway to heaven in Wasna and more interested in the hawk. The hawk and I had become acquainted. The stairway was somewhere else, seemingly always beyond reach. Then I realized that it was already within me. Last week, I found myself wondering about that stairway again. It had been years since I even thought of it. I decided to speak about this today and began to furiously research the stairway to heaven in Wasna. I reread December's Child, a book of Chumash oral narratives that was collected by the famous researcher L.P. Harrington and edited and analyzed by Thomas Blackburn. I've talked about that in the past too. I also reread much of the rock paintings of the Chumash by researcher and artist Campbell Grant. I was a fiend looking for some type of confirmation that what I had heard about the stairway to heaven in Wasna over 50 years ago from trusted elders was true. I couldn't find anything. Much was said about the soul's journey to Simulaksa, which is the Chumash paradise, that took place near the sacred site of Humkak, which is Point Conception. But no mention of a stairway to heaven at Wasna. I was really bummed out. I kept at it though. I decided to research the internet. And after about an hour, I came across some writings of John M. Anderson. Mr. Anderson had been a researcher in the religion of the Chumash, most especially in their belief in reincarnation and the soul's journey. He had been active at both the University of California and locally in Santa Barbara, providing scholarly research in combating the various efforts by private and governmental entities to build and mine near the sacred site of Humkak. Most recently, that was Vandenberg Air Force Base wanted a piece of that sacred site, and they didn't get it. In his paper, Point Humkak Controversy, I came across success, yes! In his examination of the importance of water and deltas to the south of the Chumash, he stated, and deltas to the souls of the Chumash, he stated, this flowing soul model would suggest that the presence of ascension shrines at or near the mouth of major river deltas, Wasna Peak, an important gateway into the heavens, is a well-known example. Oh, I could have fainted. I felt so happy. My scoutmasters hadn't lied to me, even though I couldn't find it in the books I had. I found other mentions of Wasna Peak in his writings as being the specific location of an ascension shrine where your soul goes after you've passed. I was so relieved that it was not just some mistaken story. All was good. Today, by the way, that's Wasna Peak. That is where the shrine is. This is Nipomo. Arroyo Grande is north of here, a few more miles. It takes about another 15 minutes. There it is. Today, I was in the backyard and a hawk circled above me. I'm sorry, this was yesterday, Tuesday. And a hawk circled above me for quite a while, giving its piercing call. I wondered again why finding the physical stairway to heaven had been so important to me. I remembered that what ended up feeling much more important was the encounter between the hawk and myself that made me forget about the stairway over 50 years ago. Then I remembered why. The stairway to heaven may be symbolized by a location or a symbol, but it is not there. It is within us and not without. Thank you, O hawk, for reminding me. And I thought of a verse. When Christ was being asked by the Pharisees when the kingdom of God would come, he answered them. This is in Luke 17, 20, 21. He answered them, the kingdom of God is not coming in ways that can be observed. Nor will they say, hey, look, here it is, or there. For behold, the kingdom of God is in the midst of you.